All right, cool. Just check in, and hello. It's Thursday afternoon, September 2020. 2020 is September 22nd. What's the matter with you? 2022, post autumnal equinox. I guess we all survived since we're all here. I'm here. I survived. Unless this is an afterlife and this is just a horrible experience. Uh, am I one of those people looking forward to death? Wow, what a grim opener this was, huh? I didn't sleep very well last night. I got a heat stroke. Um, I think it was a heat stroke. It was like 113 degrees outside yesterday, somewhere in Texas, and I was eating ice cream half a day just to keep myself cool, and that still didn't help. I don't know. Some of us are just seem to be more prone to heat waves. I'm one of those people. I don't know if it's just my Siberian blood or what. And I was born under the sun, and yet still we don't seem to agree very often on things. All right, so I'm here, and we're still finishing up that intricate, um, detail-filled drawing. And actually, since I slept on it, not literally but figuratively, I think have reworked the some of the details in my head, so we're gonna redo it a little bit. But before I go into the drawing coloring mode and ranting on top of that with my heat-stricken head, I would like to remind y'all that we have 4 volumes of unique white bread experience that you can certainly afford if you're hanging out on Amazon right now. And this is uh, this is really heavy. I'm like feeling it in my wrist, and I work out. Anyways, this is so far the collection, 4 volumes of 150 pages in each book, 148 unique drawings that do not repeat. One of the sales pitches that I always say is there is no text in these books, so you don't have to burden yourself with reading. All you have to do is just look through drawings. This is volume 4. We'll start from the end now. As you can see, it's a very emotive character screaming because he's about to get pooped on. A sentiment many of us can share. Anyways, here's a little floating deer sandal looking in surprise at this character. Like I said, no text since you open the book. And by the way, it can be autographed if you so wish. Nice grammar there, linguist. You could, you are in under no obligation to contact White Bright Art on Instagram, which has become just a bordo poniente. For those of you who don't know, one of the biggest, used to be one of the biggest garbage dumps. So Instagram kind of become a informational image, video, most importantly, advertising dump there is, but you can always find white bread art on it. We will not be advertising you anything. Everything that I shill is white bread made and art related. So you can DM us there on Instagram. Right there, I'm trying to point at it with the corner of the book, and we will personalize a witty message for you or anyone you would like to dedicate the book to and autograph it from two unknown, nobody cares about artists. But, anyways, getting into the book, this is what you get. First page, there is some text, nothing involving though, and then right away you just dive into art that is somewhat puzzling. rather imaginative. None really repeatable. Styles are different, as you can see, just even page to page. Styles differ from more realistic to more abstract, some surrealism, and then even some horror if you would like. My husband told me this was an ear, and I thought this was a gouged eye. I guess I'm the more pathological in the relationship, being a woman and all. Anyways, so a lot of drawings. All of this is 148 drawings that you will find in these books. It is a beautiful coffee table book. I will say that from personal experience, although I do keep these books in a box next to me for shill purposes, but occasionally it ends up on the coffee table when we leaf through it, and it's a pleasure to just look at it. So even for just decorative purposes, or if you would like to come off as pretentious, you can purchase this book, and it will provide that sentiment. All right, volume 3. By the way, I should check on the chat. Uh, there we go. All right, volume 3. Nothing in the chat. Oh, but I didn't write either. Wait, I gotta say hello. Be social. Antisocial. All right, let me see. Howdy, y'all. Let's draw. What's the canned? Howdy. You know, it is grammar punctuationally correct. That was a grammar incorrect. What the hell? That was linguistically incorrect. Strung together sentence. But anyways, stylistically, when you're learning a language, howdy, y'all. Yeah, howdy. You put a comma afterwards, and then you say y'all. At least. No, wait. You don't put a comma. You put a comma after a name, before a name. Anyways, you can see that I'm still recovering from a heat stroke. Certainly, you can hear that. Howdy, y'all, lads. Let's draw or color. Here I am on camera on my phone. These are the times, the best times to live in. Anyways, getting back on track with volume 3, same premise, or as we say in Russian, same eggs, but in profile. Another wonderful coffee table edition, volume 3, 150 pages, 148 unique drawings that do not repeat. And again, styles differ, and these can be, if you would like to, serve as sort of a Rorschach test to see what kind of personality or what kind of personalities possess you, what kind of hangups you have, and different people see different things here. Some of the art does have puzzles in it. Some of the art, let's see if I can find it, has hidden like faces in it, or just even hidden little messages in speech bubbles and thought bubbles. These are one of my favorites. This one always makes me think of that. How come every time I want to comment on this drawing, I always forget the name of the band that I'm trying to refer to? And I always think of Portishead, and it's not that band. It's not Portishead. It's the band that sang "Creep." Yeah, this is what I mean. Like heat stroke does not. Anyways, Karma Police. Anyways, that band. Somebody help me. Remember the name of the band. All right, so some of these drawings have hidden faces in them that are kind of like scrambled in what seems to be random objects at a first glance. And see, I'm trying to find one example and cannot really find an example yet. But you will see images that don't make sense at all. And then the longer you look at them, the more shapes start appearing, and then you will recognize a pattern, and then you will see a face. And how come does this one have it? I know it's in the other volumes. I'm pretty sure it's got to be here somewhere. But anyways, but volume 3 definitely has a lot of golden retrievers if you're into that kind of thing. See, I have a pissy little golden that I love. All right, well, maybe I can demonstrate um, something like this, but this is clearly a face. But maybe we can demonstrate that in volume 2, which is another really colorful coffee table edition, and also no text. You don't have to read anything, just abstract. Let's see, because I'm trying to demonstrate a point I'm trying to make of recognizing patterns in chaos. And I know there's a lot of these here. I can't seem to find, but something kind of like along these lines. Although this is pretty obvious that there's a face here. But I don't know, some people fail to recognize, like they see separate shapes, but don't see the bigger picture that it composes a face. Anyways, a lot of things like that in here. This one's also obviously a face, but perhaps to some people, this would just be some sort of equation or nonsense, which all of this kind of makes some sense if you're somewhat of a curious person and would like to get to the bottom of it. Same thing here, as you can see, these are not just random windows. Yes, I'm chewing it for you. I'm spoon feeding you because I had people who didn't see simple things like these. Like, here's a face and this is a mouth. Anyways, volume 2. She's a beaut. And of course, the mother of all, the beginning, the source. Volume 1, the first one, my first baby, my first color book that I put together without really knowing how to do it, and it turned out not too shabby. And here it is again, 150 pages of premium ink, premium paper, good color. That's why it's so expensive, unfortunately, because it costs $16 just to print it. But I think you definitely get what you pay for if you just comes to pure art appreciation. And like I said, no fodder, no filler, all killer. Yes, of course I'm self-bragging. What else am I going to do? Say how horrible this is? Anyways, so here it is. Beautiful additions. Moi recommends. There's also for more advanced souls out there a trilogy of abstract art in black and white. These are the originals, the ones that I colored with you guys. But this format is a little bit different. Here you get, like for example, here, to you it seems like some sort of weird nonsense written, but if you pay close attention, thou figurest it out, Pratt. Uh, there is a sentence. And so, kind of winking at there being puzzles here that don't just mean nonsense. Can nonsense mean something? But anyways, and social commentary, little witty um, observations and koans, and like your world isn't what you've been told. That's a pretty simple one. You can tell a lot about a man by the manner in which he insults you. Cute little uh, observations, or just even, I guess, advice for life. Message to the obese: figure out exactly where your anus is and stop leaving trails on the toilet seat. Thank you. Yes, some people may be offended, insulted. Some people might find this refreshing because it is not does not subscribe to the political correct politically correct agenda that is being imposed on all of us. So this is cheeky, refreshing, bald for sure, and bold. Yes, bold, not bald. Although maybe some might find this bald. Media will be the death of you. Definitely bullseye in there. And so there's three of these here, going through all the little witticisms that are written in here or just observations will be too tedious and time consuming, but certainly will be entertaining. But this is not what this channel is about. This channel is about coloring art. So now I will be sharing the screen with you guys, and we will continue coloring this last one that is somewhat reminiscent to me. This was not the original intent of Van Gogh. I'm not saying this is Van Gogh, obviously not, but I'm trying to color it that way. But I did want to change some of this a little bit, and my intention was to do something more like, yes, have more of a gradual effect. So I will be kind of changing this a little bit because it seems to me it will look better. Although some of the colors were really nice. I like that peachy color. Yes, so we'll go here, 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 and then yes, we'll get to the green. I like that pistachio, and let's just make it bigger. And then maybe go out with the peach. Peach, 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 peach. Ooh, let's add a little bit more cream into that peach. All right, and what I'm gonna do now, since I am correcting some of the things I did from before. All right, let me just move this thing. And I'm just going to quickly erase this. Uh-huh. Oh, and then once we're done with this one, I wanted to do a little experiment today with, and I'll show you if we have time, with digital watercolor brushes. I've never really had the chance to work with that, and my prognosis is that it's going to be subpar to real watercolor brushes, or just well, or pens, depending on what you're working with. But I just wanted to see if it is at all possible to have more or less realistic way of doing it. And I'm sure some seasoned graphic designers who've had enough, who's put enough mileage into doing it can do it realistically. But I just want to see like the overall effect on the finished product. Is it like as good as the as if it were drawn with real watercolors? So it's like digital and real hand coloring. What would be a proper word for that? But anyways, it's like two different beasts for sure. Let's see. And this is not the right shade. Why not? Mm. Mhm. Actually, let's do it this a little bit mm, with a little more grace. Not be sloppy here. All right, came in. And I think there's like a little bit more. And since I'm here already, let me see. I oughta fix this. All right, and still got the, which one should we go for? More lilac? And I wonder if any one of you guys had any experience with watercolor pens. I know it's also slightly different, or quite a bit different um, way of coloring. It seems to me rather enticing to try to do it. Um, and my husband is, I think he did order a set. So we're going to try it out and see how that works. And maybe somewhere in somewhat near future, you guys will actually get to see some real watercolor. I'm not promising anything. We're still experimenting. Antonio started following. Thank you, Antonio. Let's get back on track here. All right, still gotta erase these. Nautilus shape. This is what this makes me feel like. Kind of reminds me a little bit of fractals. Mandelbrot. Or it's executed more sloppily. Come on. I'm a serious artist here. Come on. Ah, you guys, so much pretentiousness in life. How do you deal with it? You know what? Actually, I just realized. All right, I'll get there later. And I missed one here. Yes, I'm gonna unload that horrible news to you about this drawing later. Um, we're just gonna do this quickly. All right, so, and I should be saving this because this was quite a bit of time consuming. All right, so now that I'm pretty sure I did, now something different came to me, but anyways, all right, let's see. Let's kind of try to make our way. Ooh, let's make it lighter. All right. More skin tone, please. Oh, I kind of want to keep it more like a sky and just go through a variety of shades. Does kind of look like an owl's face. Creepy. Let's add some warmth. Woman, where are you going with this? That's a good question. I never know. I'm one of those reckless souls that likes getting lost and think it's fun, and then serious things start happening, and I'm like, I guess this wasn't such a good idea. Like getting back into this life. I know, to an unexperienced ear who's not just used to my, what would you call this? Sudden interjections, sudden thoughts, zero control of thinking. You might think that I'm slightly out of it. I am not, I assure you. All right, I don't want it that dirty. Now's the time to start asking, is this going anywhere? And that would be a legitimate question that I myself would like to ask? Huh? What? No. Why is it like that? What? No, 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 no. All right, this one. Hmm. All right, wait a second. This one is supposed to be isolated, and then why is it not? Um, am I missing obvious here? All right, where is the? Oh, this really. Yeah, it's always some small little detail. All right, but still, this will be isolated. But what about? What this should have been also been. Uh, this is like an 8-year-old coloring on sugar. 8-year-old on sugar. All right. But what I wanted to do, and this is just insane to do this now, but since I don't want it to be so, I don't want to change the original. I'm gonna go ahead now and do the even more of a tedious task of undoing all the lines that I did before. Yes, I know you didn't want to hear it. You're like, can't we just move on to a new one? Nope. Um, so there is some sort of compulsive behavior in the description of my personality. Some things I just can't let go. I wonder why such pathologies exist in some humans and not others. Where it comes from? Is it like from the leftover of the afterlife, some sort of past life, if you believe into that kind of thing, or where do these psychopathologies uh, come from? Childhood traumas, childhood, not even maybe traumas, but just experiencing a certain situation, because not every situation is a trauma, right? Only the negatively um, tinted ones. I guess. Right. I don't know, where am I going with this? I'm just trying to occupy myself um, in the light of this, of me doing this tedious, repetitive work, and I'm not even sure if it's going to look good. I'm going to convince myself that it looks good because I put in all this time. All right. I'm reading such a funny book now. Actually, it started serious, but it's one of those Dostoevsky's books that most people don't really know about. But although it is a famous one, Devils or Demons or Possessed, it has two or three variations of the name. It starts rather seriously, and it's has a really interesting style. His writing style is of verbal narrative style. It's like interesting. He writes like people speak for a reason, like because he wants to initiate you into that circle, into that conversation at that moment. It provides a really cool effect, in my opinion. You do become somewhat of a confidant of the conversations that are taking place in the book. So, first two chapters are kind of heavy, mostly verbal oriented. There's a lot of dialogues. The characters are being established, and you just get the sense of like there's this overall sense of conspiracy and conniving against each other and against um, regime, for a lack of a better word, going on. And this is obviously all going on during in the times like on the cusp of at the end of 1800s. So this is kind of like all events leading to the travesty of establishing, the October Revolution and USSR, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, Dostoevsky died before he got to see it, and I think for his own good. So the first two chapters, you just kind of become the eavesdropping neighbor, kind of in a way, but he assigns that role to a reader on purpose, I think. At least that's how I interpret it. And then, and so it's everything serious, and you're getting to know people, and there's a lot of like, he's a really good, Dostoevsky was a really good reader of human behavior and psychology. He, in general, had very good, somewhat neutral when he needed, and then, of course, he's a writer, um, eyes, and the way he observes human actions and behavior. He was very good at that. And so the first two chapters are kind of building up for this fiasco that happens in the third chapter. I'm not going to tell you anything. It's a difficult book to read for non-Russians, I think, because there's so many um, phenomena and kind of customs and peculiarities of the mentality that has to do with an inherent Russian person. Then that to a foreigner, I can see how this would be really confusing and maybe boring and like, what is he talking about? But he's describing like the notorious stereotypical triad of Russian thinking intelligentsia, or of Russian intelligentsia, Russian thinking, although there is such a thing. But anyways, and then in the third chapter, he starts. I don't know if he does it on purpose or not. He kind of like loses his cool, the author, and he becomes really personal. And so the third chapter starts with Dostoevsky's just like he's had it, and he's having these like um, eruptive passages. Wait, eruptive, is that like a good way to describe it? I gotta look it up. Stay with me. This is an entertaining but also educational channel. Eruption. Yeah. I mean, I understand the word eruption, obviously, in the context of a volcano, but eruptive is what I was looking for. Yes, yes, yes. God help me spell it. Of produced by formed by eruption. But what I'm trying to um, conceal, reveal a certain sentiment. So by eruptive, I mean like explosive in emotion. Like he kind of, the author loses his cool and just goes on this somewhat judgmental rant of the local intelligentsia and upper middle class and self-absorbed people, and it applies to every layer of society and um, every aspect of a human petty behavior, uh, what he's doing, and he's just very keenly, the way only Dostoevsky could do it, I guess, observes it and comments on it. And I'm not gonna give away plot. Um, Parts of the plot, and most of you will never read it. Most of you will never read Dostoevsky. Were you kidding me? You guys are on Amazon. I mean, it's good enough if you read Crime and Punishment, and you probably were like left uh, asking all the wrong questions about it. But anyways, yeah, and it's just what I'm trying to say. Yes, I'm bragging because I'm a reader. You see, look, we got ourselves a reader here. But what I'm trying to say, and trying to sound pompous as I say it, is that it's really refreshing for a true artist to lose his cool and reveal posers. And he starts revealing these self-absorbed, self-important posers in the fields and circles that have to do with literature and somewhat sciences, and just these like he just paves over them with a payloader. I know that was redundant. With his commentary, and it's so funny, and it's just funny to see Dostoevsky's kind of like personality come out more, and how frustrated he was with the I'm pretty sure he witnessed it. I mean, the way he describes it, it sounds like he was a participant. And though he does have a different name as a character, but he is a character, his own character in that narrative. But Dostoevsky just bleeds through the character in his emotion and frustration about phony posers in literature, and just how bad they are and lackluster when it comes to creative thought and substance, and all it is just um, pomp, empty pomp. And yeah, yes. Where am I going with this? Nowhere. I'm just talking to myself because this is a current thing I'm preoccupied with, is reading that book. And to me, I don't know. I'm laughing my ass off reading him. It's like a reaction video on YouTube. It's like Dostoevsky reacts. It's so funny, and he's so frustrated, and he's so snarky about it too. But he's snarky with in good taste, obviously, because he's a writer, or even more so, he's a really good observationalist. If that could be an occupation, maybe that should be an occupation. I mean, that's quality control, right? Something modern society lost. Nobody wants to pay for quality control. Like, you got to be observational and you have to have a good eye for detail in order to do that. And he was one of those quality control voices in what was going on at that time in that part of the world. And he is definitely, what does this even look like? He is definitely dissatisfied customer. He's letting you know. You see what I'm doing to myself here? Um, Anyways, on that note, I'm gonna end my self-important tirade. Oh, well, what do you think? You're blonde and you read? You think you're better than me? Hmm. I don't know. How often do you hear people talk about Dostoevsky's take on upper class um, literaries? Hmm. Actually, I gotta look that word. Look up that word. The computer is listening to me. It's like one step ahead of me when it comes to suggesting words I'm looking for. All right, let's get back to this. I'm just doing this. I'm just talking to myself because I gotta maintain sanity and simultaneously entertain myself whilst undoing what took me almost an hour to do last session. Um, because in my head, I don't want to alter the original intent of the creator of the drawing, who's my husband. And he just did this probably in like, I don't know, 15 minutes. And it's taking me hours at this point to color it. My husband's probably like, you're taking this way too seriously. But it's like, I'm a woman. I like tedious, time consuming tasks. Although I'm not going to be the first one in line for a needlepoint, that's for sure. Although I always slightly envied women who had that patience just to sit there and knit or needlepoint, crochet, etc. That even bead. Um, I don't mind beading or those sorts of activities. It's just that um, I get too restless. I can't like sit in one spot for too long. I don't know, maybe 2 hour top. 2 hours is tops, and still I'll probably be like walking around making tea, listening to some controversial podcast. And I don't know if it's just a fallacy of a mind. Um, can you hang on just one moment? I thought I heard voices. They were outside of my head, I assure you. um, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere unless you want to take a pee. That is permitted. All right, I'm back. Papi needed attention. Papi got some attention. All right, let's get back on track here. Let's see. What was I doing? Yes. Pretending to be smart and erasing these lines. Oh, yes, I should be saving some of this too. As I go. Because unlike iPads and MacBooks, iMacs don't have batteries. If the electricity goes out, actually, this program, Affinity Photo, has a good. I'm assuming all of them have that now. Autosave function, but still, you can never entirely rely on them. I know all this effort, and no one's gonna care. I know. Even my husband will be like, "Wow, you didn't have to do all of that." All right. Not okay. It still looks a little bit better without those lines, I think. And I'm not even doing the most superb job at being neat. People come in, I'm like, what the heck is this? Zoomed in like 1800%, and all you can see is just pixelated, not very gracefully colored lines. Like, is this what constitutes for art today? No, actually, that was horrible grammar. Does this what constitute for art today? Ah, woman, I thought you were a linguist. Yeah, but it's more theory than actually learning the language. It's learning about the languages. Yes, I'm just sitting here and making excuses to myself, my own imaginary critic. I'm not imaginary. Oh gosh, if I ever had kids and they like watch this, and I'm like, man, mom really needed to take a break in life. That's just my sense of humor. Nobody understands me. Try to at least make these lines a little smoother. Oh, this doesn't make sense. Actually, this needs to be a different color. Mm, bless me. Oh, Dios mío. This is this is an exercise in patience. That's what it is. This is my needle pointing. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it to watercolor today. That's all right. I always have more sessions. It's like more. Most artists, I think, struggle to find and content, and I'm drowning in content, and I'm like, how do I organize the content so I don't actually lose my mind, but also don't forget it or miss something? Because apparently I missed an entire folder of art, and that becomes a bit of a, I don't want to say problem, but it is something to reckon with when you live with a highly creative person who's just um, finds it therapeutic to just sit and draw. and he needs a lot of therapy in his life. Nice lines. Makes a lot of what? Everything in life is a wave. Take that and put it in your coffee. Waves and frequencies. Let's break it down. More lines. Actually, there's like a ton more lines. But this is not going to make sense. Let's just pick a yellow. I like this kind of yellow. Pastel, slightly muted, approaching orange or peachy yellow. I guess peachy yellow, that would be a good description for it. Oh. Can you imagine all of this? David Sherman. So it looks like you're an artist. Hi, David. I mean, at least that's what I'm trying to sell to the world, that I'm an artist. Actually, it's my husband who's the artist. I just color his stuff online. I do some of my own stuff too. I hide it from everybody. I don't want that to come out. Yes. I strive to be an artist, which is a really goal that doesn't pay and is thankless, and there are no laurel leaves in the end of it. So why even want to strive to be that? And yet I can't resist. I don't know. Try to explain that. That's a rhetorical question, by the way. Um, yeah, artists are the underdogs. Yeah, I think I think even musicians are more respected, if you want to use that word, than artists. Yeah, here I go on a rant about artists. But I would say though, and I might be missing the mark entirely, but to me it seems like I don't want to say all artists, but it is more common to meet a more intelligent person who's an artist than if you meet a musician. Like I have met a lot of musicians in my life, and they really are savants. They can maybe rip on the guitar, but I'd rather see them play and not utter a word. Strange. And I've met some artists in my life, not all of them. I mean, a lot of them are pretentious posers, um, maybe like I am. But some of them I had you could have interesting conversations with. I don't know where I'm going with that. Um, Musing? But I just wonder if it's possible for artists on average to be slightly more intelligent than musicians, which is weird because it seems like it would require more skill um, to be a musician, but maybe not. I don't know. But to be a musician, it's all repetitive movement. I mean, I guess you can say it the same thing about an artist. But as an artist, I think you are expected to create more. As a musician, you don't necessarily have to create. You can just play your scales. You can play what you're told. Someone else might have written a part, and you just learned it. And that's not to say that there are no creative musicians, but there certainly are creative musicians. But predominantly, um, not a lot of creativity in music. You can say the same thing about art nowadays too. Um, but all the notes, all the chords, all the scales have been played, and people don't really sit down and try to manipulate notes and scales to make them sound refreshing or unique. And plus, it's not expected or rewarded. I mean, the music that sells the most is obviously the music that has been melodies that have been recycled, um, songs that are ghost written. I mean, even like great bands like Avenged Sevenfold seem to be ripping off Metallica. Oh, Timmy. Hi, Timmy. It's been a while. Where were you? Timmy says everyone thinks they're channeling Basquiat. Yes, I actually know a guy who told me that. I think I said it on the stream too, that he channels Basquiat. And I'm like, you and 1,000+ people on Instagram. David Sherman says, so your husband drew this picture and he's just having you fix anything that got into the picture? Well, I wouldn't put it that way. He draws all of this. Um, I already did this one. Colored. I just color them. And usually they're not this involved. Like it's more like up this alley. This is the only one that has been like the most involved so far with multiple layers. And I'm just experimenting at this point, and I'm just wondering, like, at this point, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm fixing my own lines. See, there's like an ink line in here, and then there's a digital line that connects them. So I'm just erasing the digital line that connects the punctured lines that were originally drawn in ink. Yes, when you put it that way, it just all sounds strange. But yes, I'm fixing the damage I did to the drawing. And by damage, I don't necessarily mean damage. It's just a funny word to use. All right. But this is the most involved drawing I've done so far, and because there are just so many details, and I'm drowning in these details. This is like the second show, and I'm still working on this one. And I usually do like 3 or 4 a show, different drawings, and I'm still working on this one, and I'm probably going to be working on this one the next show too. But yes, the Basquiat channelers, they're the worst. Timmy says she's part of the art. Yes, they're like an art team. Yeah, we're an art duo. Look at I. Would you like to be our press secretary, or I don't know, the press manager, press marketer of the white bread couple, Timmy? Would you like to join the train? You seem to be explaining things better than I do. You have been with us since the beginning. Um, so how's it hanging, Timmy? Is it hot in California? It's been so hot yesterday. It was like 113 outside, and I think I might have gotten a heat stroke, and I'm still recovering from it. Oof, sun can be brutal at times. Oh yes, and I should be saving this. I'm like all these. Oh gosh. So many more lines to go. And yeah, I think it will look better without the my. Let's see. David is asking, how often do you come on? I don't see you that often. Um. Oh, look at that. Timmy's already answering. She's on about 3 times a week. Yes, I'd say about every other day or every 2 days. I'm on. Timmy says, randomly, I usually catch her for a bit. Yes. Yeah, you could say I'm not the most organized or scheduled live streamer on Amazon. Uh, Timmy says, not too bad, about 78 degrees and sunny. Look at you, you're lucky. You guys are in California, you got that Pacific coast. Um, yeah, I don't know. Texas, it started getting cooler, and we're like, oh, I'm ready for a nice, pleasant, cool um, September, and then it just hit hard, and everyone's complaining. Texas is funny like that. When I lived in the Northeast, people were constantly complaining about weather. People in general talked about weather too much, and of course, it's always cold. It's always miserable up there, and the winter never seems to go away. And the spring is elusive. It kind of comes, but then it um, mocks you, then it goes away, and then cold weather comes back, and it really gets on your nerves. Like in the Northeast, I noticed like that winter into spring thing. Just when you thought everything started blossoming, like another chill comes in, and you don't know how long it's gonna last. In Texas, it's like the opposite. Everyone is looking forward to winter because it's the most pleasant uh, period to be in Texas. And then just like summer comes, everyone's complaining about the temperature. And every year it's the worst year we've ever had, like the hottest year. And Texans are funny in that regard. I'm like, I'd still much rather complain about hot summer than about cold winter that never seems to go away. And then when it goes away, it comes back really fast, and the summer is fleeting. I remember like in Connecticut in September, I'd already be like, "Oh, leaves are starting to turn. That's a bad sign for me." I don't know. Some people seem to never want to leave the state, like Connecticut, and I don't know. I just always had this feeling I have to get out. I have to get out. Um, sorry. Let's see. I'm from the East Coast. Right now it's in the 60s and raining, but still nice and green. Ah, good. So leaves haven't turned yet. That's nice. Timmy says we had a heat wave a couple of weeks back. It was like 115. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I was frying in the car at 113 yesterday. In the 60s, yeah. So in Connecticut, me in the 60s, I was already kind of worried. But when it's still nice and green, it gives you comfort. But once the leaves start turning, and I know Coasters. New Englanders love that the fall and the leaves turning, and it's beautiful, but it doesn't last. And then the winter comes, and I don't know, I couldn't handle it. And I'm like from Ukraine, which our winters are somewhat similar, and I still couldn't handle it. Um, Yeah, I don't know. Something about cold. That and I have like Siberian genealogy or whatever. You would figure, although it's like southern Siberia, so maybe close to Mongolia. So I don't know. Maybe it's I am like more genetically programmed for warmer climate. Actually, to be honest, my best I felt in Belize. Um, and although at times it was really miserable and muggy and humid and lots of bugs, including mosquitoes and sandflies, still somehow like moderate heat and high humidity is, I don't know, some people freak out in humidity. Like I've known this woman, she just couldn't stand humidity. She's like, it's the wrong kind of humidity. And she would always complain about how humid it is. And that's in Texas too. I'm like, Texas doesn't, it's not the first state that comes to mind when it comes to humidity. Here I am like a true kinetic ocean talking about weather. Let's see. I'm not a kinetic ocean. I just lived there for a while. All right. Oof. I wonder if oh, all right, let's see. David Sherman up here in upstate New York. Oh, upstate New York is beautiful though. I've driven by a few times. We do get lots of snow, but sometimes the snow doesn't start until either more uh g- generally December or January. Sometimes November. Lots and lots of bugs, and the spring pretty much would stay on schedule, and in July is the hottest month here in upstate New York and part of August. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe because upstate New York is closer to the Canadian border and has something to do with it. I don't know. We were on the coast in Connecticut, and I don't know. There's something about maybe the ocean was messing up um, spring and winter relationship. It was like that codependent, abusive relationship. It's like I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you. It's like, is the spring coming? No, it's not. Haha, joke's on you. And then sometimes I remember we had one year we had a Christmas Eve where it got so hot. It was literally t-shirt weather. Everyone was wearing t-shirts, and everyone was just amazed. And then a couple of days later, a cold weather came and storms and ice storms and I must admit there were some dramatic snowstorms in Connecticut that I enjoyed for that moment while it was storming, but then dealing with the consequences of that, especially if you live in the city, maybe if you're in the countryside it's more tolerable. Dealing with snow and winter in the city, it's, I don't know, it's stressful. All right, clearly this is just too time consuming. And I wonder if I just will have to do installments of this drawing in particular. David is writing, I remember about over almost 20 years ago, we had the first time up here where it didn't snow and it stayed green and rained, and where I had to mow the grass a couple of times in January. Wow, that's funny. And it was the weirdest year that has ever happened, at least in my time up here in Syracuse area. Um, yeah, that's funny. Well, that's certainly anomalous. Um, Mowing grass in January in upstate New York. Yeah, I guess the proximity of the ocean would sometimes, and the fronts coming in and out would contribute to, I don't know, capricious weather. Um, I guess in that regard, continental climate would be considered more boring and predictable. But then again, even no, I remember when I was a kid in Ukraine, we had long, long summers into like beginning of October with Indian summers and everything. And then like when I brought my husband there, it's like end of August and it already started feeling like the fall was closing in. And my husband was complaining like, oh, do you guys ever get summers here? I'm like, in my memory, I remember having summers. All right, so as you can see, this is a project, and um, I feel like I've already had enough of this line erasing, and I only did this one little area. That's crazy. Um, I don't know. Maybe if I just like do a little bit of the corner, and then I'm probably just gonna have to go feed my family, feed my starving family. Um, oh, I see why that didn't work. Talking to myself right now because that line wasn't closed all the way. Yeah, I don't know, something about snow, and I don't know, maybe I just grew up watching too many isolation movies. And what was that movie? Thing? Was it called Thing? With Kurt Russell? I think it was one of the, I want to say Carpenter's movies. Not 100% sure. And I think they shot it somewhere in Alaska. I always wanted to visit Alaska. I think it's like one of the has one of the most beautiful natural parks, glaciers, and everything. But and it is enticing in so many ways, and yet I would never want to live there because you would have to deal with snow and winter. And in small doses, it can be magical, but more than a month, um, I can't handle it. What the in the world is that? Little mm, pixelated defect. I want to say a better word. You know what? But I don't think I can do this any longer now because all of this line painting over uh, is I'm on a trackpad. I don't use a stylus or anything like that. But my hand is starting to cramp up. So I think it's time to take a break. David, how's your country, Ukraine? Is the war almost over? I don't know. I don't know how long that's going to be dragged out. I mean, to be honest, all of this, what's happening now, it's been happening since 2014, just not been reported about. So it's been already like 8+ years or 8 years of bombing, and Russia just got involved. My family's in Kiev, and part of them is in Crimea. They all seem to be doing all right, and life is the same. Just the economy is all um, shaken up. But like I said, all of this has been slowly rotting away, including the economy and people's well being and safety since 2014. And yeah, nobody in the rest of the world, nobody knew about it, and suddenly that becomes sensational since Russia got involved. And to us, I'm honestly am sick of hearing about um, what's been going on in the east of Ukraine. Um, I hope it will be over soon. I don't know. It's probably, like I said, going to be lingering for, I don't know, at least a year, maybe even more. I heard people predict several years of this is going to be happening because, in the end of the day, it's more of a civil dispute. It's a civil war more than anything. And those drag out because it's people within the country disagreeing with each other. But yeah, I probably shouldn't talk about it on this platform because I don't want to get all political. This is an art channel, but my family's doing all right. My cousin, who's in Crimea, he actually moved temporarily to Moscow now, and I don't know. He seems to be enjoying his stay there. I think he's also getting he got a job opportunity there, and they pay there a lot better than anywhere else in Russia. I think Moscow is the best paying city um, when it comes to Russia, Russian Russian territory. No, not Russian cities. Yeah. Um, um, right. So some of our American veterans have chosen to go over and help the Ukrainians fight against Russia. Oh yeah, like I said, I don't want to get involved in it, but it's Ukrainians fighting Ukrainians. Really, and it's been going on since 2014. And we shouldn't probably talk about it because Amazon doesn't like these kinds of topics. And see, your message already has been censored, and I didn't do it. It's just the Amazon's algorithm picking up on it. And I guess they're disapproving such subjects since Amazon is more of a consumer platform and my show is more of a art show than anything else. So I'm not going to be really sharing any opinions on anything. But like I said, this has been going on for many, many years, 8 years, and Russia just got involved. So if anything, they're slow to react to the conflict. All right. Phew. See, your message got hidden again. Just gotta love how well is the SanDisk 1 terabyte mini SD card. Oh, I know, right? They finally came up with the SSD micro card in 1 terabyte. I mean, it's experimental for sure. So far, so good. I hope they really like made sure it doesn't go. Um, Nothing goes wrong. But yeah, that certainly gives you a lot of free space. I was wondering if that will ever happen, and I guess they made it happen. And so far, the reviews have been really good. Um, but it just came out like a month or two ago, at least that I started seeing it. So it does not have a long-term um, user experience yet. So we'll see how well they stay. Time will show how their longevity is what I'm trying to say. But I know they come a long way with external hard drives and terabytes. I mean, all my terabytes have been lasting. I don't want to curse myself. But yeah, I mean, if you're a photographer, there is definitely, or a videographer even more, that is definitely a break that everyone was waiting for. Yeah, that definitely was a brave move to come up with that. Oh man, this is a tedious task for sure. David says, I wonder how small technology will go for the future. I mean, what kind of tablet are you using? Actually, I just used iPad, the one for 279. Well, I'm actually working on an iMac right now, uh, but I have an iPad, the 2021 one, 10.2 inch, 64 gigs. Or were you asking about drawing tablets? I see there's a couple of different ones. Kind of I really like I prefer the Mac iOS to PC's Windows. I have used both, and I find uh, Windows to be a little bit more harassing. Like it just comes up with too many. Well, first of all, there's always like malware alerts and virus alerts, and I have malware bytes on it. And then it just opens application. It tries to advertise me stuff, and I am yet to figure out a way to disable all of that. And so when it comes to when I buy a piece of technology um, with software installed on it, I kind of tend to go with Macs. That's why I got an iPad, just because it leaves you alone. Just you do your thing on it, and PC. I don't know. I have a PC laptop, HP, and yeah, it's trying. And also, it just very often it restarts itself and opens all the applications that I already told it not to open, and it still opens everything. And then I have to go in and close everything, and it's just time wasting, like just Skype and Microsoft Office and all the things I don't use and will never use. Yeah, it's a little bit overbearing. Doesn't kind of like leave you alone. David says, that's what I meant years ago. I switched over to Apple software. The iMacs are real safe as I got on iPad, and you have no problems like you do with Windows. So all of my devices are Apple now. Yeah, most of my devices are Apple now too. And I'm not even like an advocate for Apple or Microsoft necessarily, but I did notice that just there's way less hassle, and there's no really windows for threats. Like even iPhones, I read whenever you get those like scammy phishing messages, if you get it on like Android phones, that could be a problem because they might have all these malware on it. Um, and iPhones seem to kind of dodge that. Not to say that iPhones are immune to viruses, but there seems to be a lot less cases with people struggling with um, outside um, malicious data trying to get on their devices and steal information. So yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah, it just leaves you in peace more. All right. I think I'm gonna say my goodbye to you guys now because I'm getting pretty hungry and my hand is cramping up on my trackpad. So, thank you so much for stopping by. Most likely, I will still be working on the same drawing next time. Thank you, Timmy. Thank you, David. David just wrote, "Looks good. I hope you can get some more done later on it." On it, it's a good job you're doing that. Thank you. Yes, I'm hoping I will finish it next time. So I wish you pleasant remainder of your evening. Spend it amongst your loved ones. And I'm gonna go spend my remainder of my evening with my loved ones. And I'll see you in a day or two. Thanks so much, and bye bye.